During the holiday season, the Eular family likes to pop some popcorn and gather around the TV for a movie or a holiday special. Gather your family together, rent a favorite movie, and play it back on this programmable Zenith VCR with wireless remote control for a low $279.
Have you ever noticed someone who has a natural knack for selling? Like it's almost instilled in their core? Well, that's Bill Eular. And this is his signature on the industry.
Thank you very much, Bill, for joining us on Signature on the Industry this month.
It's my pleasure. Yeah.
I really, really appreciate you sitting down with me.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, you ready for me to ask you a few questions?
Let's do it.
All right. Question number one is, do you feel creativity is important to be a successful realtor?
That is a good question. And the answer is yes. I do feel that it is. Creativity is important. And especially since I feel like our role as a real estate agent is largely we're problem solvers.
Absolutely.
So the creativity comes right to play in that, because we oftentimes have to figure out how to keep a buyer and a seller together. And when I'm talking about that, I'm not just talking about the easy part is getting a contract together, especially now.
Yep.
But we still have, from time to time, inspection issues to deal with. And that's where creativity, I feel like, can be, and where I've kept a lot of deals together, where you figure out a way. We don't like to, but sometimes we have to adjust commissions a little bit, you know, pay for something out of our pocket, which is essentially a commission reduction. Find a way where both sides can work together, or possibly four people involved, a buyer, a seller, and two different agents. I've recently had one on a radon deal that I had to suck up a little bit of the cost on it. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, it's almost always worth it. It is always worth it. Now, the creativity, there's also the side of marketing,
yes,
and so forth and so on. That's the part that I know is important, but I've never been good at. So I rely
you gotta struggle.
I rely on an office like this, where we have so much talent here, including you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
But you're never far away from someone to help you.
Yes.
So I let that kind of seek its own level with what's needed at the time. Too. So hope that answers it.
Yeah, no, that definitely answers it.
Yeah.
Great answer. I love that. Okay. Question number two.
Yes.
Who has been the biggest influence on your career?
You know, I have to, I would say my father.
Okay.
You know, I was just thinking about this interview this morning, and it occurred to me that it was 50 years ago this month, July 1971, that I started my career in sales.
Oh.
And it was a situation where one summer day, we had a family business in St. Joseph, TV and appliance. And one summer day, my dad came home and he said, "You know what?" He said, "You're going to work for me. I'll give you all the time off that you like to look for another job, but you're not going to sit around this summer. You're going to work for me." And okay. So it was not too long, a few months into this, that we were sales and service, and that I discovered how much I enjoyed sales. Now, it has nothing to do at the time, obviously, with real estate, but he was the one that encouraged me and helped me and laid a lot of the groundwork for what I probably still use today.
I was going to say, because he owned his own business,
right,
and you own your own business, so he showed you how to own your own business.
I started thinking about, you know, at the end of the week, hey, how much my check was going to be, and started thinking about how much money maybe I could save, and so forth and so on. So that really carried through with me. So I would have to say, to sum it up, yes, my father.
Your father.
And we worked together almost until the store closed in March of 1990.
Okay.
But we worked together almost until the time we closed.
That's so wonderful. And now your son does real estate. So
my son does real estate.
Do you think that you've influenced him that kind of in the same way that your dad did?
I think so.
Yeah.
I started saying, unfortunately, he's not with this office. Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
He's with Brand X. But it's fun watching it's fun seeing the questions that he has to ask me and being able to help him through what I've experienced.
Absolutely.
So hopefully he would, if he was asked that, he would answer.
He would say you?
Yeah.
Well, I bet you he
All right.
would.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready for question number 3?
Absolutely.
All right, question number 3. Do you have any advice for new agents?
That I do.
Okay.
I really do. I have a number of things that I would probably use for advice.
Okay.
First thing is probably to don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Worry about what you're doing.
Great advice.
And alongside of that, realize there are things that we can control and things that are out of your control. And focus on the things that you can control.
Yes.
Even though you're going to stress over the things that you can't control. There are many.
Yes.
And there are more that you can't control
than
what you can control. So those are the things that essentially, and to try to always do more than what you've promised, to exceed expectations to where you're invaluable and that you're thought of for when the next time comes along. Because believe me, there's plenty of people that have crowded into this business. And lastly, what I would say is try to stay in touch with your past customers.
Yes.
That's something that I did not do as well as I should have. And it makes all the sense in the world. It'll make you feel better. It makes your clients feel better. Everybody is happy when you do that.
Absolutely.
And probably will put some money in your pocket as well.
Absolutely. It pays back, doesn't it? I love that answer. Great answer. Okay. Question number 4. What do you feel has changed most in real estate since you became an agent?
That's a good question. I like that question because in one word, what I would say is transparency. The public today has at their disposal and owns information that years ago we owned. And they had to come to us. And we today have less, in other words, your client, your buyer may know about a house on the market before you do.
Absolutely.
Before you do. One of the things that, and I've used this story when I'm working with people, I remember this was actually the mid-'80s. Probably before you were born. And I remember my wife and I were looking for a house. She decided to use one of the coaches there had a real estate license. And we were really hot to find a house. We wanted to find a house. And I remember going over to his house of an evening and sitting at his dining room table with a real estate book, which had information that was probably maybe 2 weeks old.
Oh my gosh!
Looking for a house. And he was over watching a basketball game or something and showed about as much interest. You know, I was
Here we
actually
go, sit
doing
at my
the work.
table. Pick a house.
Today we've got our buyers set up to where they can get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and fire up their computer and see what's new.
See what's new for the day.
So the technology, the transparency of it, and the technology that has enabled that transparency, is huge.
Absolutely night and day different. I mean, obviously. Wow, I didn't even think about that. That is a really great answer. Wonderful. All right, are you ready for the final question?
Oh yeah.
All right, final question.
Is it going to be what my wildest?
What is it? What's the question?
What's my wildest experience?
What's your craziest real estate story?
This is one of my favorite stories.
Okay, I'm ready.
This happened about 15 years ago. I was showing a house in St. Joseph. St. Joseph, for some reason, never, at that time, did not embrace a co-op system. So you called the seller to set up a showing. I called and set up a showing with someone that was obviously not the decision maker that okayed a showing. So I had some gentlemen with me, I remember. And my wife was there. She rarely ever goes on showings, but she was there too. So we get in the house and we're walking down the hall, and I still remember it. And one of them says, "Hey man, I think somebody's here." And it was like, before my brain could kick into gear,
to realize what you're saying,
a undressed woman came around the corner. and I think she threw a towel up about the same time. And my wife said, "You were as white as a sheet."
Did you guys like kick it out of there really quick? You're just like, I'm sorry.
I think we ended up heading for outside to take
You
a look.
did?
It was time to look outside. Yeah, and I'm not real sure if I saw that person again. She went somewhere else.
Well, I'd say that's a pretty crazy story.
Yeah, it was an interesting day. I've had others
Memorable.
too.
Definitely.
But that one definitely tops the.
Very much so.
Right.
Okay, well, I appreciate you sitting down with me.
Yeah.
If you just want to look into the camera right there and say thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next month on Signature on the Industry. Bye.